Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, you lovely folks joining me here nice and early over at Marvel Snap Zone. Welcome back for another featured location highlight deck segment. It's time for us to show you some of the wonderful things you can be doing over the next 48 hours if you are playing on Marvel Snap's updated client. Brand new patches live, all these new cards, all this shiny new stuff, and of course the Wakandan Throne Room coming through as a location you should also be paying attention to. Brand new featured location. Not one that we've seen in the game before, so it's going to be fun to watch it kind of unfold, see what's what, and figure out what we expect to be able to do in this location. If you're not familiar with it, it will turn up at a 40% higher frequency in games during this period, and cards here with the highest power will have their power doubled. Now that is quite a strong effect, and we're looking for ways to abuse it all around. The location is pretty similar to the Monster Metropolis, which provides +3 power to the highest card. At times, the best way to win this location is just going to be to play the larger card and have it take bonuses from your opponent's cards on the final turn of the game. Doubling one card with really high power seems like the strongest way forward here. The problem with trying to flood a location such as this is ensuring they all meet the threshold, whereas one big card will steal the buff from a whole swarm of cards and double its power. For example, consider things like Death having 24 power, Destroyer having 30 power, Red Skull also having 30 power, Namor being 20 power by itself. It's a pretty similar story to the start of the month here. We expect these big haymakers to be the dominant things in this location, and also have some anti-meta choices for you, and a pool 1 and a pool 2 choice if you find yourself in the position where you only have access to those cards. Just keep your eye open for Shang-Chi on this location as well. It should be very, very good here over the course of this week. So we're going to get creative and see what we're going to do. All I ask is that if you have a chance, please subscribe to the channel over here on Marvel Snap Zone. Loving putting out the content for you guys so far. Hopefully you can keep enjoying it, so make sure you like like the video down there, turn on notifications, make sure that you don't miss out on anything as we go. Last but not least, unfortunately this article was written before the November 29th patch notes came out, so we have built these decks with the previous versions of those cards in mind. That being said, we don't think any of them are suddenly horrible or unplayable, so we're still going to feature them in this video, but do keep in mind that when we put them together, things were ever so slightly different pre-patch. Okay, time for us to take a look at our first deck coming up for you. Going to start things off with the Pool 1 and Pool 2 decks for folks that may be looking for those, as it makes more sense for us to kind of just start in that capacity and move on to Pool 3 stuff. So, if you're playing in the Throne Room this weekend and you are a Pool 1 player, this is the list that we would recommend currently. We really want to feature Namor this week further up, because it plays very, very well with the Throne Room being a 20 power threat in that location. So here's a deck featuring Namor as your biggest Throne Room target. However, Devil Dinosaur is obviously capable of locking down a lane by itself, also a pretty good thing in the Throne Room if you have nothing else to be doing. The rest of this deck definitely built around utilizing that game plan, establishing a plan early, playing out threats onto a location like Ant-Man, Nightcrawler, Sentinel, build power on a separate location so that you can win the Throne Room with one of those two haymakers. In an ideal world, Devil Dinosaur is going to win a location and Namor will win the Throne Room for you. Rest of this deck obviously very good at drawing cards to keep your hand big and flush for that Devil Dinosaur. Things like White Queen, things like Sentinel, Cable, Mantis, they all go a long way at keeping your hand very, very full of cards, and I highly recommend trying this one out if you are in Pool 1 and looking for things to do during this featured location. On to pool number 2, if you're looking for something a little fruity to do over here, we've got some more options when we move further up that let us get a little more playful. Against the reduced field of pool 2 cards, Namor still dominates the Throne Room in this plan, as does Devil Dinosaur. However, Sunspot and Storm make this more consistent, allowing you to turn off the lanes to the left or the right, stack mid with Ant-Man, Claw and Mr. Fantastic, with Onslaught for some other surprise lane options in this case. Makes this one really fun. There's a number of ways of playing to the Throne Room, a number of ways to abuse what it is that you're looking to do. Plenty of things to look forward to in this list that just kind of updates on the Pool 1 deck we were looking at. Some of the more exciting options, though, definitely come when we move into Pool 3. The first of the decks we want to highlight for you here, that are maybe worth exploring, it's going to be this Serra Zero list that has many cool, sweet toys to look forward to enjoying in this location. Try Serra and Zero. Serra fits here perfectly as enabler on turn 6 for a very large Venom, so you can make a Venom that dominates the throne room all by itself, or your 5 drops in this situation are also going to dominate the location very often in the form of Red Skull and Taskmaster. Keep in mind, of course, Red Skull most games will be 30 power by himself on the throne room, which mitigates his disadvantage entirely. Playing him without Zero or Venom will be less likely to impact you negatively if you can do it on the throne room, and is still exceptionally strong if you can do it anywhere else and remove that effect entirely. The basic goal here should be to use Zero and Venom to take away the negatives of cards like Typhoid Mary and Red Skull, and then copy their power across with things like Taskmaster. Seems like a really solid deck for this location. Looking forward to trying that one out later myself. Up next, we finally have a deck that unfortunately I can't play if I want to, because it's featuring a brand new card that released just yesterday. Electro and Friends coming up as a good starting point here. Big cards need big energy. Electro helps you gain exactly that. Arnim Zola can then copy those big cards and play them everywhere else. This one is very much a starting point example. Many cards in this can be swapped for whatever big cards you may have. We're pretty confident to the changes can be made on this one, but given that we already get to use new cards, let's cheat a little and try and include one here, is the thought process. This is very much the all-in build of the week. If you're looking for just the most linear canon style thing to abuse the throne room, this is probably the deck for it. Electro on 3, Devil Dinosaur or Red Skull on 4, Taskmaster on 5, into Absorbing Man to copy that Taskmaster again on turn 6. Now, from experience with Electro decks, you want some backup plans, and the rest of the deck tries to do exactly that. It runs the Odin package alongside things like Doctor Doom to allow you to play to multiple locations. Storm is going to block off a lane and try and get you a lane control style victory, and the Infinite, primarily for post-Electro, skip turn, play Infinite plays, guarantees you a location locked up a lot of the time as well. The throne room will hopefully help you copy that power across to win other lanes, and then locking down the throne room can be a way to have counterplay into your opponent if you do not find your big hitters yourself. If you don't have the Absorbing Man yet, however, things like Arrow, Black Panther and Sunspot could all fit into variations of this list if you want to try it out without that card. Of course, we can then look at Devil Dinosaur as the thing that we want to be highlighting, which is going to be the kind of haymaker of today's best deck. The deck that is the most consistent, playable without the location, and gains a lot in this location. The current Tyrant could of course be the next Tyrant. This list is essentially unmodified for this location, but Cosmo and Devil Dinosaur should win the throne room together an awful lot of the time. Then you can just Arrow to win the second location by dragging your opponent's stuff away and making sure that you have that one locked up. It's a pretty proven deck at this point and likely a safe choice into the throne room location. If you're looking for something anti-meta, something a little bit more of a tech choice, however, we have some options for that as well. First of all, this shutdown list, basically the more all-in version of Antimatter. This is very much a take on lane control. Now, moving toward a slightly nerfed Serra list may be the way to go, but as mentioned up top, we're looking to explore other ways of being annoying as well. This version runs the usual lane control cards, plus Goose to turn off the ability to play big cards into the throne room. This whole list is just trying to be annoying the whole way through the game, and has Magneto as a potential way to come over the top of the throne room yourself if absolutely required. If this one is too all-in for you though, we do have another shutdown list available that is a little less all-in and more friendly to non-throne room locations. Daredevil Vision as Daredevil's Vision here might help us select the right lane to push forward into. If we see a way out on turn 5, we can play the card then. If not, we can drop Serra and go for the Kingpin Arrow combination on our big turn 6 afterwards. This deck is going to be very, very reactive and may possibly have one too many tech cards, but Cosmo may just come in huge, or if the on-reveal combo decks become the way forward on this location. Some really sweet ones here all around. I think there is plenty of ways to play into the throne room. I'm very, very excited to see what you folks come up with and just get some games on the ladder myself over the course of this 48 hours. If you haven't already, please do consider subscribing to the channel. It would be lovely to see you for more content in the future. And if you want to see new Series 4 and 5 cards in action, I will be live here on Marvel Snap Zone's YouTube channel at 6:30 GMT today to start showcasing some of those new decks and hanging out with all you awesome folks in the community. So hopefully I will see you then. But until next time, I have been HowlingMines, you have been amazing, and this has been Marvel Snap Zone. Take care, have a good one.